In IELTS speaking exam, you'll definitely need some phrases to help you, especially when you get stuck. Other phrases will just help you to organize your thoughts. In this video, I'll show you these phrases that you need to use in any of these cases. This is Dori, I'm a teacher of English, and today I want to share with you some phrases that will help you during your speaking exam. So let's get started. In both speaking and writing, I had told you many times how important it is to use an example to illustrate your point, to justify what you want to say, especially if you have a personal example to give. So instead of using for example all the time, there are other ways you can do that to start to give an example, such as, for instance, like, such as, especially, particularly, or in particular. Sometimes you may not hear very well what the examiner asked you, especially if you're very nervous during that day. There is no problem. You can ask the examiner to repeat the question in a polite way. Some ways you can do that is by just saying, "Excuse me," or "Could you repeat the question, please?" You can also say, "I beg your pardon," which is another polite expression to ask the examiner to repeat what he or she has already said. Now, this is quite important. If you didn't understand something at all and you want some clarification from the examiner, you can do that by saying, "Excuse me, could you rephrase the question, please?" Or you can also ask, "What do you mean exactly?" If you have an idea, but you're not exactly sure, you can start by saying, "Do you mean that?" And you move on by saying what you have understood. However, and this is super important, be extra careful when you ask clarifications like that, because you can do it only in part 3. In the other two parts, the examiner cannot rephrase questions, cannot give you clarifications. He can only refer to the cue card or to the question. He can only repeat the question in part 1. And to be honest, even in part 3, you can only use them. I should say you should use them only if you didn't understand at all what the examiner asked you, and you really need him or her to change the question in order for you to be able to give an answer. Now, the following expressions are very, very handy. My students in my class get stuck all the time in the middle of a sentence. They start saying something and then somewhere in the middle they stop, they make a huge pause and they don't know how to go on. They don't remember what they wanted to say in the first place. This is a common mistake for non-native speakers of English because they try to translate from their mother language. So it's inevitable that at some point they will get stuck, especially if they're nervous. So when this thing happens to you, you could use a phrase that I'll tell you right now, and it will help you to start a new sentence. So when you get stuck in the middle, you can just stop and say, well, let me put it this way. And you start by forming a new sentence, forgetting the previous thing you wanted to say or the previous structure. So you use, "Let me put it this way," or you can also say, "You know," and you start by saying something new, by giving maybe an example of some kind. Or another phrase you can use is, "Well, what I mean by that is that," and you move on by saying what you wanted to say or something else, but in a different structure, that it will actually help you finish your sentence, finish what you wanted to say in a more smooth way, okay? So these phrases are your 3 friends if you get stuck. So if you remember to actually use them, they will greatly, greatly help you to wrap up your point and start a new sentence and just finish what you wanted to say without any awkward feeling, you know? So practice using those phrases in your speaking exam next time, and you'll see that they will greatly, greatly help you, especially if you get stuck. Okay, that's it for today. If this video was helpful, please do like and subscribe, and please do check out the description box below for many other useful videos, many useful links to my social media, and to my #1 recommendation if you're interested in an IELTS online self-study course that many of my followers had great success with. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, good luck with your exam!